Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Sawcruhteez Streamz, and I am your host, Sawcruhteez. I hope everybody's having a great holiday weekend. I know that I sure am, and I'm excited to be able to take some time here to go ahead and dive into some longer-term charts. During the last stream, towards the end, there were a few people requesting an update on the Hyperwave, and I didn't see those questions in time, so logged off before getting to answer that, and that is definitely something that I would love to cover here. So I will be diving into that, as well as providing, basically giving you an update on the Hyperwave, and then also providing my outlook as it stands today. So I am having a little bit of trouble with my connection, so I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly, and I'll keep an eye on the chat just to make sure. So before diving in, we'll just go ahead and share a little bit about my weekend. I had a great Thanksgiving. Didn't have any family come to town, but did get to hang out with some of my very best friends in the world. Went out and just had way too much to eat and also too much to drink, now that I think about it. But it was just a great time. Some of the people that I got to see it's been a while, basically since golf season, since I'd seen some of these guys, which is a few months past now. So that was really fun. We had 2 turkeys, one smoked, one baked, and then we also had a ham and a bunch of really good sides, and of course cases of Coors Light, and even some really good whiskey, so that was great. And then yesterday was Black Friday, and I definitely got in a little bit of shopping. I renewed my TradingView membership at 60% discount. Gotta love that action. Also got myself some hoodies that were a really good deal. I think this thing was like $10. I mean, how sweet is that? So also went looking for, I was in the market for some new ski boots, and there was like nowhere around doing sales. I guess Black Friday isn't the time to get sales on ski equipment. That's probably more towards the end of the year when people are trying to offload that type of stuff. So I hope everybody out there is having a great weekend and enjoying time with friends and family, maybe getting some good deals on some different stuff, hopefully stuff that you need and obviously can afford. I definitely have mixed feelings about Black Friday, but I love me a deal, so that is something that I definitely try to take advantage of when I can. So just taking a look at the chat. Good to see you, Eric Theart, Marcus Recliner Report, Dolphin, Keith Pierce, Silky Smooth, Moonshine Fuel. Seeing Fibbo Swanee in the chat, and Lydia Cunningham. So good to see you guys. Ian Jones asks, is Thanksgiving bigger than Christmas? I think that it's not bigger than Christmas, but it's almost better as far as I'm concerned. You don't have to, not as much stress. You don't have to worry about buying a whole bunch of gifts and that sort of thing. And all it's really about is eating a lot and drinking and getting a long weekend. So Thanksgiving, absolutely one of my favorite holidays, if not the favorite. It's really tough to beat Thanksgiving. So, okay, that being said, I think it's time to go ahead and dive on into some charts. Okay. So, as you can see, I have the Hyperwave lines drawn up on this chart. It's been a while since we've looked at this. It is a very long-term sort of pattern that is definitely good to keep an eye on every now and again, but it's not something that you can really look at every day or every week or even every month, specifically once you're in the 7th phase, because I mean, this has just taken a very long time to play out and run its course. And remember, as long as we have not returned to phase 1 and we have not created a new all-time high, we are still in phase 7. So this has still been in phase 7 basically ever since the beginning of 2018, and That's something that I have definitely been keeping in mind, but I am looking to trade some of these smaller swings and even, take some positions to the upside here. Just because it's phase 7 doesn't mean that I'm going to be just completely staying away or just fully out of the market or even short, because I do use other indicators to help me signal entries and exits. I think the Hyperwave is most useful to the upside, basically in 2, 3, and 4, drawing these trend lines and knowing how far the move can go before fully reversing is going to be really, really helpful in a parabolic move when it's moving to the upside. To the downside, there really isn't much that you can do. Like Tyler would just basically stay out this whole time, based on Hyperwave theory. If he's just using Hyperwave, once it enters phase 7, there's not really any areas that signal from Hyperwave theory to do anything. So therefore, that's a big reason why I haven't really been talking about it too much lately, because there just isn't a whole lot to talk about. I mean, it's phase 7 until it either makes new all-time high or returns to phase 1. That's basically it. So question is, of course, from everybody is, do I think that we are going to return to phase 1? And my answer is no. I'm certainly open to the possibility, no doubt about it, but I do not think that is the most probable outcome from here. I would give it maybe 10% or even less. Probably 5 to 10%, but that could change very quickly. It's important, very, very important to understand where you need to reevaluate. You come to your conclusions, but then you don't get married to the conclusions. Strong opinions loosely held. It's very important to know where do you need to reevaluate, and it is getting pretty close. So I do think it is a good time to go ahead and provide this update. And just want to mention that Tyler was a great example of that. He was a firm believer in the power of phase 7, returning the price to phase 1. There was very little doubt in his mind that it was going to happen. But does that mean that he didn't know where he was wrong? No, absolutely not. He actually started buying in here, even though he knew it was phase 7. His alternative method for trading, Consensio, signaled entries right in about here. I believe he bought this candle, this red candle right here. Actually, I think on the daily we need to zoom in. I think he was buying this wick right here. You can always go back and check, but he made it very clear where his entries were, and I believe that he bought this pullback right here around 65, excuse me, because Consensio told him to get in. So he knew that he was very, very confident. He had a very, very strong opinion that this thing was going to phase 1, but it was loosely held. He was ready to go ahead and buy, even though he knew it was phase 7, because Consensio was his backup plan. Consensio told him when and where he was wrong. So, as it stands right now, I view it as a very low possibility that this thing is returning to phase 1, but I know exactly where I'm going to change my mind. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other chart, which people will probably enjoy. Now, I'll start by clarifying that I've never before used a rocket emoji on a chart. Always found that kind of silly. I wonder if I can make it any smaller. Doesn't look like it, but what are you going to do? Okay, so yeah, always found a little bit silly, but if there's ever a time to use a rocket emoji, I think it's right here, because that is this logarithmic trend line is where we tend to take off. Testing this area has been a great buying opportunity throughout the history of Bitcoin. Now this is pissing me off, so I'm just going to get that out there. And instead, we will add an arrow to this guy. Guess I'll have to make it a little smaller, maybe a little bigger. I draw up these charts when this chart's full screen on my computer, and then I have to minimize it to stream, so it screws with things a little bit. But okay, testing this area of trend support has historically provided the best buying opportunities in Bitcoin. And I do not think that this is going to be any different, specifically because of the halving. And that is the primary reason why I don't think that Bitcoin is going to return to phase one. If that happens, where we fall down here in the next year or so leading into the halving, that would not be right, in my opinion. Something would be wrong. It would be very worrisome if we're going into the halving and just dumping from 14,000 down to 1K. That's something that I just really don't think is going to happen. But I will be absolutely re-evaluating and changing my mind if we don't hold this area of support. And I think you guys have been hearing me for months talk about wanting to buy this 62 to 6,800 level, because of this enormous confluence of support that we have from this trend line and this horizontal. So this thing's just kind of bugging me. We're going to have to redraw it now that we don't have. There we go. Oh, shoot, almost had it. All right, whatever. Okay. So what do I think this current action most closely aligns with? I think it's something like that, where it's you get a bottom, you kind of break through, you get a significant correction that lasts, what's this? This was only 2 months, 3 months, but long enough to really scare some people, and then you take off. So that's kind of what I'm seeing right in here. I am really, really interested in building a larger than normal position in this area, because the risk is very well defined. If we break down this horizontal and we break down this trend line for the first time in the history of Bitcoin, we'll see you later, longs, I'm out. It's pretty simple. And the risk is, it's not pretty simple, it's hard, trading's hard, but this is a well-defined area of support, and if it breaks, then there's no way that I'm going to want to be holding on to any longs. So the risk is going to be well-defined and very small in relation to the potential reward. If we do take off and we do enter another bull market, then from here we should basically go on to create new all-time highs. Just kind of, this is what I'm seeing is right here, is that we're on our way down. If we do find support here, we're going to come up, probably find some resistance at the all-time high, just like we did right here. Maybe come back for a pullback, create a new all-time high, pull back, and then boom, it's off. That is what I'm expecting and what I'm hoping and what I'm wanting. I'm really wanting to, bet big on longs on Bitcoin leading into the halving, and this is where I've been wanting to do it for the reasons that I just outlined. Let's see if we can find another corollary. I'd say right in here is pretty similar as well, where you create this lower high, it starts to kind of look ugly, but boom, then it takes off. So that's what I think is going to happen. That's what I'm wanting to bet on. But how it happens is very, very, very important. What I really want is this kind of action here, where it kind of comes in and then rolls up. This would allow the moving averages to roll up, and this right here would give me an entry signal based on MSR. If we are able to just roll up like this, that would allow everything to come together and would provide an entry signal like in here. If we do more something like, well, actually, I'll do another good option before getting into something I don't want to see. So let's just kind of get this out. This would be pretty darn reasonable to do something like this, and that would be really nice as well, because that would basically what that would do is allow the moving averages to kind of converge and then get a golden cross right in here. And again, this would be providing me with a very, very nice signal if we do something along these lines. I would be betting probably maybe bigger than I should, bigger than I almost always would, if we do get one of those two things where it just kind of consolidates and rolls up, or does like this higher low type of thing where it first comes down, maybe capitulates a little bit, then boom, comes up, rejects from the moving averages, then it comes down and allows the moving averages to do something like that, where, you know, it's resistance and it's coming down, it's resists on a bounce, and then as it kind of consolidates sideways, maybe creates a higher low, then the moving averages would start rolling over, coming together, and the shorter term would cross the longer term in here, and we would get some really, really nice signals. So again, I'm not looking to just blindly buy a pullback. I'm waiting for signals, and that's where I really, really trust the system that I use and the indicator that I actually recently developed. Okay. So, if this doesn't happen, oh, what happened there? Are you kidding me? What happened there? What happened? That's stupid. So we can just basically get it back good enough. There we go. It's good enough. What in the heck happened? Now I'm unable to zoom in. Okay, there we go. So, if I'm wrong and we do not find support here, and we instead do something like so, if this were to happen, right, if we were to break this down, throw back and resist, and create a new low, I would be changing my mind entirely. And 1,000 would probably be the most probable number in my mind. I just really, really do not expect this area to break down. It's been support throughout the history of Bitcoin, and this has been the main market structure for Bitcoin, has been this kind of trend line that's curved like an inverted parabola. Does that make sense? I don't know. But what it's showing is that each cycle, the amplitude is a little less in relation to the last, and the duration is a little longer in relation to the last. And that's kind of what you would, that's basically exactly what you'd want in like an S-curve type of adoption, where it starts out, you know, making enormous moves, and then it starts making smaller moves and taking longer for it to do so. So this is the most important line for Bitcoin as far as I'm concerned. And did I freeze? Unbelievable. It's just been one of those days. Let's see. Hopefully the YouTube channel is still working. It is. I just am now unable to use this chart, I guess. Let's try changing the time frame. Maybe that'll help. Okay. So if we do something along these lines, and for the first time ever in the history of Bitcoin, we break down this trend line, then no way in the world am I going to expect like you know, anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 to turn that thing around. I mean, it's possible. Anything could happen. Maybe we just get a massive shakeout before a massive breakout, and that's why I'd be watching closely. I wouldn't be changing my opinion on something like this. I would be looking for a quick hop back up, you know, to indicate some sort of shakeout. But if we broke this down and then resisted and then created a new low, I would be feeling very confident that there's not going to be any support found from 5,000 to 3,000 for anything more than a dead cat bounce. And again, I'm giving this less than 10%, so please keep that in mind. I don't think this is going to happen, but this is where I know to reevaluate, is if we do break down this area of horizontal and trend support and turn it into resistance and then create a new low. Then I am completely changing my tune. As it stands right now, I feel like there's a 90 to 95% chance we're going to hold support above this area. Maybe we already did hit the bottom. Maybe we did. I don't necessarily think so, but it's possible. So that would be included, 90 to 95% that we find support and we keep this line intact here. Maybe we get a shakeout, but that's fine. That's within the 90 to 95%. When I say 5 to 10%, I'm talking about actually breaking this thing down, not just shaking out below. So this is where I become very, very interested in building a large position. We'll also be keeping my eye on this trend line here. That would kind of be the last area that I would want to either enter or add, is say that this was the bottom and I didn't buy it because I didn't get a signal to buy it. Didn't even get a signal to close my short yet. Let's say that this was the bottom and I didn't catch it. Well, I'm going to be watching this trend line, as like if we break this trend line, it's time to get that long position established. So that's kind of where I will be, my most important areas. And I think that down in here is just a very, very attractive place to be longing Bitcoin. But again, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what signals I get. And look at me, I'm actually getting better at trading view, saving some layouts and whatnot. So let's just go ahead and pull up my MSR layout. So, like I said, doesn't matter what I think, just matters what signals I get. And right now the signal is short, so I am short. I did trim a little bit at 72. Sent a tweet out as we got this action right here. That was 9 with the reversal doji. So trimmed a little bit, but I remain short. And this is what will protect me from missing out on any big moves, because if we are to enter a major multi-month or multi-year trend, then this is going to tell me to long. I'll just go ahead and go back and see that that's what happened right here, and we got that nice kind of action that allowed everything to provide that really nice signal right before the multi-month trend. And same thing back in here with this nice multi-month trend. And I just heard a sound that told me somebody just transferred some money to purchase the indicator for 1 year. So thank you very much, whoever you were. I appreciate that. I will provide you access as soon as I can. And for anybody that is interested in this indicator, it is available for $500 a year. You can come over to Sawcruhteez.com to get a full description of what it is, why it was developed, what it's trying to accomplish, all that sort of good stuff, some back testing, and then down at the bottom, definitely an overview of some risks, some important notes, and how to buy. So give that a look. While I'm at it, I will mention that I will be at Unconfiscatable to teach an advanced Consensio workshop, Advanced Consensio and MSR indicator. So I will be including 1 year subscription to the indicator for anybody that registers for this workshop. And registration is open. People have already started to sign up, so that's really cool to see. Much appreciated. So go on over there if you are interested. I'm really excited to not only teach the workshop, but also meet up with some great people that I met last year, or who I've gotten to know maybe a little bit online since then. So, okay, that is going to be about it. I wanted to just stick with the longer term stuff today. I guess there's a couple things we can get into very quickly that are important to me. Keeping my eye on this trend line here on the daily. Oh, son of a gun. So we see that this is a nice, well-fit line, connects to all these candles pretty much in here. Yesterday we tried breaking through, barely closed below. It was definitely something I was paying attention to. Anybody in the Telegram chat group that I've recently established would be aware of that. I've been providing daily updates, basically committing to providing daily updates for definitely the foreseeable future, so that everybody there can be learning, and then also just aware of how I use some of my favorite indicators. And trend lines absolutely are one of my favorites. So this daily candle was very interesting. I was watching that close yesterday to see if it was able to break through this trend line. It didn't. Wicked above, closed below, and then today's candle is unbelievable. Let's see here. Okay. Today's candle is basically almost fully retracing yesterday's candle after rejecting from this trend line, so something I'm keeping an eye on. And yeah, so basically we'll be watching that closely, and watching the 1 hour. It looks like it may be wanting to develop some sort of head and shoulders. We failed to turn prior resistance into support, so now I'm expecting that to turn back into resistance. If it does, then we would form a head and shoulders, would be pretty darn likely. So that is something that I will be keeping my eye on. In the last video, I think the chart was looking something like this, and I mentioned to keep an eye out for an inverse head and shoulders with an 81.50 target, which happened to be right in line with the let's go back to the other chart, the live streaming chart. So yeah, I was keeping an eye out before that right shoulder developed. It was starting to really show those signs. So in the last stream, I did point this out to keep an eye on that inverse head and shoulders. And again, in the chat, I was in the Telegram group was keeping people updated, as it looked like that was confirming and giving us an 81.50 target, which was right in line with the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. So that is what I've been expecting. And I've been even thinking about re-entering the 20% I trimmed down in here if we did get back above 8,000. So we got pretty close. But instead what happened is we formed a rising wedge. And confirmed that today. So the rising wedge gives us a 71.50 target. So I am just about ready to abandon the 8150 target from the inverse head and shoulders due to the new pattern that has developed, this rising wedge, and it has confirmed. And I will be basically, as long as we're below this 7650 level, I am going to be wanting to use this rising wedge target instead of the inverse head and shoulders. If we do get back above there, then I'm going to definitely be reverting back to looking at price to return to this 200 EMA and or fulfill the target of the inverse head and shoulders. What else did I want to look at? There's maybe one other thing. Let's see here. Can't think of what else. Definitely going to be keeping my eye on the that 50 EMA on the 4-hour acting as support, and to see if we can maintain this golden cross on the hourly. If we can't, and let's say that we find resistance below 7650, which is what I'm expecting, and then we do something like this as the moving averages posture for a, oh, that's a little too much of an angle, death cross. Let's try this again. Something like that. Something like that. Then that would provide a very interesting entry. Love it when patterns line up with moving average crossovers. So if we do get like this head and shoulders type of thing that allows the 50 EMA to kind of continue moving down as the 200's flattened, and then we get kind of squeezed between a death cross, that would be a beautiful entry. And keep in mind, you don't need to pull up and into a death cross. You just need price near it when it happens. And getting squeezed in between is almost better, specifically when it's forming a pattern. Okay, so yeah, I mentioned the Telegram group a couple times. That is basically everybody who purchases the MSR indicator does get an invite into the Telegram group. And like I said, I have been providing some daily analysis where I just kind of go through, share my previous conclusions, go through my favorite indicators, and then come to a summary and a conclusion. And I'll just share today's conclusion. Expecting a bounce to 76.15 to 76.50 could provide a very good opportunity to sell or short. There is horizontal resistance along with a potential pull up and into a death cross on the 15-minute. There's an attractive area to sell due to the risk reward. I would be looking to place a stop slightly above 78, which provides a 2.25% risk. If we do break down from here, then I would expect us to revisit sub 7,000. If we don't, then it would be a small loss in relation to the potential reward. The rising wedge confirmed at 77.45. I had covered that in the previous day's analysis, and that definitely did provide a good entry. I'm not wanting to, not trying to, basically I'm just trying to provide my best analysis and what I'm thinking and how I use my best indicators, my favorite indicators. I'm not trying to have people just copy trades. That's something that's not how you learn. You learn by analyzing for yourself, and then potentially seeing how other people use indicators is a great way to analyze. So that was when we were down here that I was expecting a bounce to 76.15. I posted that right around in here. So we are getting close to my target, and right now we are about $50 away. What I'm looking at is the 50 EMA on the hourly. a horizontal support resistance that failed to become support, and this death cross here with this 200 EMA here. That's what led me to those conclusions, and the reason why I was expecting a bounce, the main reason, was the 9 that occurred on the hourly, and that's something we've been paying attention to as of late. These 9s have been pretty darn important on the hourly chart. We've been getting a number of them kind of near the tops or bottoms of the move, so that is something that I have definitely been paying attention to, and that is the main reason why I was that combined with support from the 200 EMA were the main reasons why I was expecting a bounce, and then I outlined the reasons why I was expecting resistance. And I'm not I don't want anybody to join the to buy the indicator just to join the Telegram group for a couple of reasons. A is I'm not necessarily committing to providing a daily update for the next year. So if you purchase the indicator to join the Telegram group and for the daily price updates that I've been doing, I want to be very clear that I'm not committing to doing that for a full year. And then also I want to make it very clear that the Telegram group, it is a privilege to be in there. It's not a right. If you do buy the indicator for $500, you're buying the indicator, and I'm inviting you to the chat group. And I have a very, very low tolerance for people who are disrespectful or disparaging or just flat out being trolls. I will be very quick to ban people like that. So if you're buying the indicator, you get invited to the group, and you get kicked out a month down the road, you're probably going to be pissed off. Or if I am unable to sustain the daily updates, and that's why you're buying, you're probably going to be pissed off. So I just wanted to make sure to clarify that I am really excited about the chat group we've got developing. We've got a bunch of great people in there, and it's been a lot of fun to have another format to share analysis and to help people learn. I've got a lot of good notes and stuff that I haven't had an outlet to share with as of late. So I am definitely excited to be to finally have a Telegram group up and running and to get some really good people contributing in there. So let's take a look at the chat, and then I will call it a day. I am fighting a sore throat. It's really killing me. So I will take a look at the chat, and if I don't see any good questions, I'll just move along. Let's see. Okay. Eric Adler asks how many people in the group at this time. I can tell you real quickly. 46 members currently, and it sounds like there will be 47 here by the time I'm done with getting that new person added. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Computer is moving a little slow. Volume went down after the telephone call. I'm not sure why in the heck that happened. Just enough to upset me. I don't know why that happened, but it's too late now. So sorry about that. People could hardly hear me. My apologies. I should be probably looking at the chat a little bit more frequently. I'm not sure if that's still the case. Really don't know what the deal is, but what are you going to do? Bitcoin Motorist, looking forward to seeing you at Unconfiscatable as well. I think Zizo will be there too. Sounds great. Okay. And looks like that's pretty much it. Dolphin asking people to like and thumbs up and subscribe. I appreciate that. on our way to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. That will be very, very exciting. And also head on over to Twitter and give me a follow there if you haven't already. Recently got through the 7,000 barrier and looking forward to getting to 7,500 there. So all good things happening, and that's all because of the great support that I've gotten from everybody out there, like the people who are watching today. So really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, and I will plan on catching up with you guys next time.